Hello and welcome to Buckman's Model Mania. Today we're going to be working on the Moomin House Stage 49. Let me go ahead and get the book open and we'll start working on it. This is going to be putting the roof on the veranda, and I think that's all that we do in this stage. Let me see. Oh, no, staircase. But I don't know whether we actually put it together or not. So let me pop this open. And actually, not the roof. We're putting the shingles on. These shingles are paper. They're cardboard. They're thick. Not real thick, but they're cardboard. So with that, it's probably going to be, this is probably going to be a video in many parts, because I'm going to have to, after I put something on, I'm going to have to let it dry. I'm just looking in the list. Oh, there it is, typewriter. There's a typewriter. Looks like an old Underwood. Set that over here. Let's take a look real quick if the stairs, yep. The stairs do get put together, and it's going to be just a real quick pop it together. I mean, let's see, they say apply quick drying glue to the pins. Not any real reason. Stairs are done. Set them over here as well. Then we have these parts for the eaves. Or not the eaves, but the peaks on the roof. They're going to close off the peaks. Got this third one, which is a lot shorter. It's going to go up here. And then this tri-corner piece here that is going to fit on here, right there. So let's get this stuff out of the way and see what we can do. This is going to be a little bit interesting, because first you're going to glue, then you're going to let it dry, then you're going to, after it's all done, we're going to turn it over and cut it off. And again, this is part of the, I still think they should have done the roof not on the veranda itself. Hopefully the veranda will not come apart. So using craft knife, separate pieces, take the veranda. Okay, so the first thing it's asking you to do is to separate the detail pieces, A and B. This is A, this is B. And what I'm thinking I'm probably going to do, just because I know how this stuff has been working, is I'm going to cut these out. I'm going to do a layer. I'm going to pause the video for 15 or 20 minutes. Might even do what I did in another video, which is do a video within a video. Go and work on another stage of something, or actually, since I still haven't brought the Disney dollhouse back over after putting that flooring down and having it start to warp, I may go finish that in the middle of this video. These are just punched out. I probably shouldn't be cutting all of these loose right away, but I'm never one to do things the way I should. I tend to, on models, forge on ahead and then go, well, that didn't work very well. So let's see. Hopefully all the bottoms are punched out. They are. So I'm going to run across here. at least 2 of these for right now. I looked over to the book, and the book is covered by roof tiles right now. So let's take a look and see what the book says to do. So the book says to do this one, and then do the top row or the bottom row, and then press on. Just looking at this, there's a little bit of stuff on here. It should be okay because it should be covered by the next row up. Random assembly. Wood glue, it says. I happen to have just a little bit of wood glue left from one of my Model Expo kits. So what I'm going to do, since it asks for wood glue, is I'm going to just put a line of wood glue across here, because wood glue actually soaks in pretty quick and dries pretty quick. Hopefully it will not warp these, like on the Disney dollhouse, how badly those warped. And I have to do a slight adjustment here because right here, the very edge. So I'm laying that across there. Let's see, too. Okay, so it says to align centered the next piece. There's a slight bit of paper there. So I'm just looking. Centered would be right about there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a thing of glue here. And you'll notice what I'm not going to do is glue on top of the other paper. That should help a little bit. I have actually used on things like this before, just the glue stick. Not going to do that on this. So right about there. We're going to line it up with the line. Just put my thumb in glue. And then it says to put one more sticking out from there on either side. Not sure how well this is going to work because it's going to stick out quite a bit here. I'm going to put a little bit more glue on here where I hit it with my thumb. Put a little bit over here because of how far out it's sticking. We're going to slide this one up against here. Let's see if I can get that through. Like that. And we're going to slide this one up against this side. I'm sorry if I've gotten too quiet. Man, I hate how much this thing flexes. Stick 2 more pieces. Okay. So what I'll probably end up doing is letting it dry once I have this close to the top. Depends on when it says to cut it off. And what it does say in the instructions is to line these up to where that, where the point of the next layer up is in the gap on the layer below. Instead of just a straight line, I'm doing a little bit of a swirl there. So we're going to take this one up. We're going to put it pretty close to the center. Line it up with the line. Come on over. Right about there. Slid a little bit. I may end up going back and having to do something to pull it down, because I'm not putting any glue underneath the points of the tiles. And the next page, it looks like we should be able to go across with one piece. At least that's what the instructions are kind of saying. And they are right. And I got to take a little bit out right there. Maybe there as well. That shouldn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and just put glue all the way up to the top now at this point. And this is actually where I'm going to cut after putting these pieces in. Again, we line up the points with the gaps on the layer below. Looks like 3 more pieces. Actually, it says 3 pieces, but I think it was talking about including the one I just put on. And it does say in step 7, right here, to wait for the glue to dry completely. So we're going to take this piece here, we're going to line it up like that. It's down a little hair. It does grab pretty quickly with this. Line up this one. Whoops. I shifted it a little bit. One, two, three, four, five, six. 3, 4, 5. Yep, one more. Actually kind of following the instructions on this one. So we're going to take this last piece, line it up with the gaps, and line it up with the top. This is a little bit tricky because you got to also make sure that you've got it straight. I'm going to go up a little bit more. It just looked like it was off. And that is where we're going to cut the video. This time I'm not going to pause the camera. This time I'm going to stop the camera and stitch these together later on. But we'll come back once this is dry. Once it's had a chance to dry, I'm going to probably give it a good hour, hour and a half so that it is solid. And then we'll come back, we'll cut, and then we'll do one side, the other two sides. Well, we'll do one side, do the pause, and then do the other side. So I will be back in, well, for you, almost instantly. For me, an hour or two. Okay, I'm back, and just saw some schmutz on there. So this is dry. It's actually been a day. It's the next day since I've been able to get on this. So now I'm going to see how I can get in here to cut this, because it's a little bit awkward where it's at. We'll see what we can do. So I'm going to start on this side, and I've got the scalpel. What I'm doing is just slowly going down along the edge here. I need to move this up a little bit. Realized that I was not going to make it because the edge of the edge was off of the edge of the little purple mat. And actually, it came off pretty well. It does say in the instructions that they suggest running it over more than once. That does not look, I was going to say that doesn't look good, but it doesn't matter the way it came out. It came off of there. It looked like there was going to be a problem right there. So let's do it again here. I almost think that it would be easier to take a pair of scissors. There is a slight imperfection right there. I need to fix that before I can move on, because the next set of panels are going to stick across that spot. I really like the way that came out. There is a slight scrap here that's holding on. There we go. I'm going to just lightly, because it is paper. Doesn't say to do this in the instructions, but that will be covered up. So actually, I really like the way that came out. You can see a little bit right there where it's, ooh, don't come off. Might have to put a drop of glue underneath there. Although, I think, put this on the right way. As long as I don't, as long as I don't mess it up between now and when I finish, this should be just fine. It's going to be a little bit interesting to do the other sides without cutting the roof tiles that are already there. But that should hold it okay. So let me go ahead and do this other side. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go from the top all the way. I'm just going to go where I can see it. There's the first little bit there. Turn it around and go this direction. It's pretty ingenious the way they did this. So that part's off. I slipped off the actual edge of the wood. And that's the other thing I'm trying to make sure I don't do, is cut the actual wood of the roof. And as you can see, I'm going over several times on this one spot. And I guess you'd call that coloring out of the lines. And I think each section is going to require a brand new scalpel blade. So that part there might be problematic. I've got one small piece that it's going to fall off no matter what I do. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit more interesting on the other sides when I don't have the wood. And you can see there's a piece of tile missing there, but it should be okay. If you're looking that close after the fact, you're looking too close. So that's a lot of looking. Looking at these spare pieces, or these parts that I've cut off, I am going to hold on to the large pieces. Anything with 3 or more full tiles I'm going to use, so I'm going to hold on to just in case I need them for something. I have all the other tiles already are right here in this little bucket thing. Let me see something. Yeah, this is going to be just as interesting to cut as the first time. So I'm reading the instructions right now. So we're going to end up doing this again on here, and it shows 2 at the bottom, so I'm just going to sort out how many I need. Because after the first one with the 2, it then drops down to small enough that each one will fit. So there's a long piece, these 2. So that's this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one on the top here is going to be a little bit interesting. I'm just looking at how it looks. This will probably be just tile cut pieces. So I got 4. 5, 6. That looks like 7. Okay. Let's do this. And looking at this, they're only doing just a little bit over the edge. So we're going to take the first piece, and actually I'm going to just put glue all the way across. Like I said yesterday, I have actually ordered wood glue because this is going to be more and more stuff that needs the wood glue. The wood glue is going to hold better. Ordered it because of the Disney house, but the wood glue is going to help a lot on a lot of this stuff. I think I said that on this video. Might not have been this one. I do multiple videos in one day, so sometimes for me they kind of run together. That might be too much glue, but we'll figure it out. So I'm lining this up at the bottom, sticking my thumb into the glue. Problem with wood glue is it is not clear when it dries. It is actually a little bit yellow. So there's that one. And what's it say? It does say to line up the center of the column. That could be a problem there. If it's sticking up on the edges, that's a problem of too much glue. I'm making a gluey mess out of this. Okay, and this is where one of the shorter pieces are going to come into play. If I can find one of them. I know I put them in here. There we go. So instead of trying to stick an entire piece out here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off there. And I'm just going to stick it on like that. Back here. Because it's just the very edge right there. Then we'll take this one, same as we did before. We'll line up the points with the tops of the valleys between the on the tile set below. We'll do the same thing up the side here all the way up. And then on the top, I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do that. The glue is actually drying enough that it's not going to cause an issue. And I may have to come back and do something with glue over top of the tiles to keep them laying down where they need to be. If I do that, it'll be like a clear varnish or something. One thing about this is you can tell as you're doing these, you just put the point of the one above down into the peak of the tile set below. That way it kind of lines up the way it should, and that's also how I'm going to line up the top piece. So got that there. Got a little bit of glue on my fingers. Let me put some more glue right here. just a little bit down on the paper itself. Let me find another scrap. The reason I'm using the scraps instead of a full piece is because, one, I tend to save things as I'm going. Let me go ahead and cut this off here. And two, I don't have that piece hanging out way over the edge when this is drying. So like I said, bring this down, line it up like that. So that is the second row of tiles. This one is slightly off, but it's going to get cut. There's going to be like 2 tiles there. But now I will take this and probably set it like that so that it, with something holding it down, so that it dries and doesn't cause any problem. And oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned this because I picked this up after, I did this after, lost my train of thought. I did the tiles here and then set, that's where the last segment of the video ended. When I went to move this back over here, I picked it up like I kept doing, like I do with a lot of things, by the roof. And the roof came off. So right now, this is off of here. It's off. I'm leaving it off until I get it done. Like I was mentioning before. And we will come back when we're ready to cut here, when we're ready to cut the 3 sides off of this tile. And after that, we'll do one more side. Let's see. And it is saying too that you're going to have to put a little piece up there. It's one of these things you adjust it to match. Cut the end of the ridge. Oh, I see what it's saying. When we start putting the peaks on, we'll have to cut the plastic to fit. So that's all for this segment, and we will be back hopefully today, probably not. If it's not today, it'll probably not be till next week because this is Sunday before the live stream. But you will see the finish of this roof in this video. Okay, finally getting back to this. Been busy doing a lot of other things. But now, got to trim it here and here. And it's kind of tricky the way you have to do this. It's actually out, it's underneath where I can't really see it very well. But what I've got to do is trim it under here while not cutting the tiles from the last time. And very carefully removing the excess tile here. And it takes 2 or 3 passes. So there, some is finally starting to come off. These are coming off. Let's go this way instead. Come on. And I just bumped one of the tiles on the other side of the roof. So you want to make sure you get the scraps off. You want to be very careful. But then the plastic pieces will cover over that pretty well and make it look perfect. Might need to do a little bit of sanding on it. This side is going to be a whole lot easier. There's not a whole bunch of roof in the way. The difference on this side is that it's curved. But you have the bonus of being able to push up against the wood, just like that. And then there's also going to be the top edge. Once I get this trimmed out of here, I can go after the top edge. And there's just that very little edge right there on the top. So we're going to do, and I'm looking right here. I've got to do a little bit of touch up. Come on, focus there. Got a little bit, do a little bit more touch up right there. It actually sticks up quite a bit, but I'll get that fixed and I'll go ahead and take care of this side. And then once I have those done, once I have the rest of the tiles done and trimmed, I'll come back and we will finish up this issue. So don't go away. Like I said before, it'll be almost instantaneous for you. It's actually been several days for me. So we will see you in the next segment. Okay, welcome back. This is a second voiceover attempt on this. I forgot to hit record before. So what I'm doing here is doing a voiceover because I didn't double check, make sure my mic was working. So there's no audio for this clip. So what I'm showing right now is these, the tiles are not perfect the way you have to cut them, but they get covered up by this plastic piece, or these plastic pieces, so you won't see the rough edges. And you can see it will cover. Right now that one plastic piece is not all the way down. It's going to go up there to the top. It's got to be trimmed. And overall, it will look good at the end of the day when it's finished. Here I'm looking at the instructions, double checking something that I have read, making sure that I have that I have a couple of little pieces that I have to put together. All right, I have to cut them out and glue them in place there. You'll see what I mean in a second here, because what I'm doing is measuring against the roof, going to mark it. Once I've marked it, I then will, I'll then put it in place. I'll glue it in place, and then I'll do the plastic pieces. I end up cutting two separate pieces. I end up cutting the tiles in the middle because it is very short area there. Basically, it's keeping it from looking a little bit off because the tiles on the other two peaks, or on the other two sides of the roof, they have tiles up that high. Don't have to put it in there. It just makes it look better. So I'm looking for scissors. Got the scissors now. I'm going to cut the pieces out and put them in place. And they are really small pieces. And they're still joined right now. At this point, they're still joined. But the problem is they go up beyond the top of the roof. And I was pointing out that all the flower parts are now on the patio part of the veranda. I'm going to cut that top piece off, which is going to split them into two separate pieces. Lay the first one in there, make sure it's going to fit. I think I do a little bit more trim on it so that it fits better. Actually, it looks like it fit perfect the first time. Maybe not perfect, but it fit well enough. Put a little bit of glue in there. We're going to put the first tile in there, get it lined up. And it is difficult to do this without getting glue on your hands. I did get glue on my hands, had to keep um, getting it off so that I don't end up with it all over the roof. There was a couple of spots where there was a little bit of glue. It dries semi-clear, not really noticeable. I've got the small piece on the left was a little bit too out of place, so I trimmed it a little bit more, put a little bit more glue on it, and put it back in place. So now I'm going to glue that piece on. After that plastic piece, after double checking, making sure it looks, at least to me, it looks good on both sides. Pretty well covers those tiles. There we go. And the little white spot that was there is actually glue. It dries and disappears. So now we're going to use some CA to attach this piece. And I do actually get a little bit on my thumb and get stuck to it a little bit. I'm comparing what it's going to look like with the top of the eaves, the piece that goes on the top of the eaves, and it does at that time look a little bit odd. I work it out in the end. It ends up looking really good. It's complete. Personally, I think they could have made that piece just a hair longer. If it was just a hair longer, it would have fit. Could have cut off at the back of that veranda, but that's not what I got. So that's glued in place. Actually, no, it's not glued in place yet. I just looked and the glue's still closed. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap, and when I put that ball on there, it's still a little bit off. I read in the instructions, it says to move it a millimeter away from the edge. It's a little bit more than a millimeter, about 2 millimeters, but it does line up in the end. So now we're going to put a bunch of glue on here. Because of where this is and how it's situated, instead of trying to use my pin vise and glue, I just use the bottles. It doesn't have a ton of glue on it. I don't oversaturate it with glue. I just get enough on there to where it'll stick where it's supposed to be. It does say you need to use quick drying glue for this. And since I did use super glue, I had to get this in place right the first time. And you can see there's where I got a little bit of glue on my thumb, wiping it off. But you can see it actually looks really nice. I'm still holding it, but it is firmly in place now. The next one has to go on there, and both of these have to be trimmed a little bit so that they will line up together. I'm reading the instructions on how to do this part. top back on so the glue doesn't dry out. And now I've got to cut that piece off directly in line with the top of the roof. Using the razor saw for that right now. Being very careful because I don't want to cut any of the tiles, especially if they're going to be visible. And so I work with razor saw a little bit, get most of the way done. You can see I'm very slow with it. I've angled it so I can go down a little bit further towards the towards that part of the roof. I think at this point, yeah, I'm trying to see if I can break it off. Needs a little bit more sawing. And I think this is the point where I get it completely to come. Nope, no, not quite. Still got to cut a little bit of off, a little bit more off. Got to have some coffee. I think it comes off at this point. No, not quite. I think it's at this point it's loose at the top. It's just at the bottom where it's still connected. I think we're about to get it off. If you saw my rubbing my fingers together, that's because I'm trying to get glue off. And I actually did take the X-Acto to finally get this cut out. And there I got it off. You can see it's pretty straight. It's not 100%. It's not perfect. But it looks pretty good once it's done. So here it says in the book to actually mark it with a pencil. I took a look at it. I eyeballed it, tried to mark it with a pencil. Didn't get any marks to go onto it. So what I do is I take the razor saw and I just go ahead and cut it. Start with the razor saw and then I switch over to the X-Acto. You can see I stopped there. Don't want to cut the table with the X-Acto or with the razor saw. Cut the piece off. Put it in place. It's pretty close. It's not 100%. And that round cap is going to cover over it anyway. So here here it's going to be kind of entertaining because I'm trying to do 3 loose pieces at once. I think I show it with the little ball piece on there first. So that looks really good from the top. From the front, it shows a little bit of a gap. And that's why I'm trimming that just a hair because I could see the gap from the front. Truth be told, the problem is that on the right-hand side that the cover for the tiles is not quite all the way up. It could have been up just a couple more millimeters. All said and done though, this comes out looking really good. Got a little bit a little bit of excess glue on the part. That's why you see me grab the paper towel there to wipe it off. Push it in place. Hold it. And you can see there is a really small gap. It's not perfect. And the camera's having trouble a little bit focusing on the orange. Now we're going to set this piece in place and see how it looks. The entertaining part, or not so entertaining part of the having to do a voiceover is I actually did another video after this one, so I had to voice over it as well. Or I'm going to voice over it. Haven't done that yet. So here, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here, making sure that I've got this correct way, the larger pieces to the out towards the front of the house. Getting the tweezers so I don't glue myself to the house. And I think I actually said that. Putting this in place, setting it, adjusting it to where it's more correct in the front than in the back. The back is going to, back might be covered by something. I don't think so, but we'll see. And then we're dropping the little ball. Tiny little ball. And what I'm showing is there's a little point on the front. It's kind of like a little helmet. Put some glue on there, drop that piece in there, and it'll be done. So after this video, what I did is I went back and glued this back onto the top of the veranda. So we have the whole veranda, and you can see there's a gap in the middle there. Not a whole lot I can do about that. I could take a piece of the orange plastic scrap and maybe glue it in there, but I think it looks just fine. So now we're going to cap off the glue, or well, clean the glue cap first. Then we're going to put it away, cap it. Talk about the stairs a little bit. Actually, I looked ahead. The stairs themselves don't get painted the way the first stairs do, which is odd to me. But I do talk about the fact that I'm probably going to hit that up because it's not quite the plastic color, and then you won't see the plastic. What I'm going to do is spray it with the same color that I did on the Eagle 4 when I built it. That was all there is to do in this issue. Issue 49, quite a bit to do in there. Take a sip of coffee, wet the whistle, and I did my normal spiel of like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified of anytime I post new content. Leave a comment. I love comments. I answer almost every one of them. If you just leave emoji comments, it's kind of hard to answer that. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a great day. Have a great day tomorrow, and I will see you in the next video.